Welcome, people of the World Wide Web. So it's the weekend, so it's another movie review. And what do I have for you this weekend? It is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. So I went to see this last night. So let's get into the into the rough outline of it, so you can tell it. So first of all, you go and see this film. It is 2 hours and 43 minutes. It is directed by Christopher McQuarrie. He has directed the previous two Mission Impossible films and Jack Reacher, I think. So he's quite a lot of the I can't remember his name now. Cruise. I can't remember. Tom Cruise. It's most of his films. He's also written a lot. He wrote Jack Reacher. He did the screenplay for the previous two ones, and it was the screenplay for Maverick. So he's obviously got a big connection with there. And yeah, I say there's no after credit scene, so you never have to worry about that. They don't have anything. It is part one of two, which will be the end of it. And I must say, I didn't have the highest hopes in it. You know, I do like Mission Impossible films, but there have been so many remakes and franchises and stuff at the minute. You do get a bit sick of it. So I didn't have the biggest expectations. I went in middle to low, but that's not begrudging the film or anything. That's just me. I've seen a lot of big movies that unfortunately haven't lived up to their hype. But was this film a mission, or did Tom Cruise do the impossible and pull off a good film? And I must say it was the latter. I was very impressed. First off, which gives him bonus, and this is a big thing. Yes, it does show a lot of the film and a lot of the action scenes in the trailer. A lot of films do this, but there was one key point to the story. Like the story, we know it's called Dead Reckoning, but for the trailer, we don't actually know what's really going on. And the aspect that you don't see behind the scenes of what is Dead Reckoning, I thought was actually really, really good. And, I have to kind of give it a bonus point. And I'm thinking I'm going to do this from now on. If they release trailers, I mean, I think I've seen every single trailer because I've been to the cinema so often that you can't really avoid it. That when you see, it doesn't give stuff away. I mean, some of the scenes in the trailer are the final kind of arc of part one, so yes, it does give some away, and it does kind of, if there's people that are threatened or something, they're going to be in it later, so there is that, yes, but the overall kind of synopsis behind the film is not given away, and I really liked that from a trailer. So yeah, as I say, you have to kind of give it a bonus point for that. So I say, and I did really like it. So obviously, if you haven't seen it, please feel free to stop the video here. I will now go spoiler. Massive spoiler warning, and we're going to get into the film, and I'm going to dissect it a little bit. I'm not going to give everything away, but I'm going to give quite a bit. So let's get going. So anybody that obviously hasn't seen it and obviously knows the synopsis, basically Dead Reckoning is a AI system. The whole point is it starts off is you have a sub. It has this AI system on there. And basically it is a lot more intelligent than what it seems. It blows up the sub itself. It sabotages it by doing some weird kind of computerized shit, pardon my French. Doesn't computerize, makes the systems think there is stuff there when it's not, and then it ends up the ship being destroyed. And the whole point of it is that this AI system has a two keys that interlock. And that's kind of controls the brain, or as far as we're aware, the brain, the source code of this. It blows itself up and it sinks, and that's where we start the film. And then we have the understanding that obviously this AI system has got out there. It's out there in the world, and people want to control it. And the only way for you to control it is to have two parts of the keys. And this is the whole point of why Ethan Hunt gets Kittredge, obviously, so returning from the first film, here is his job basically he gives the mission to Ethan, saying that this is what he wants to do. There is a key out there, I can't tell you what it does. And so Tom Cruise goes out there. You first find out that obviously half the key is held by Isla. So this is Rebecca Ferguson from the previous movie, so she returns in it, and obviously he's out to get her, basically, and then it kind of doesn't really go to plan. It's quite good, and then you kind of have kind of like Kidridge and a load of other officials from America were sitting down and explaining, look, like there is this AI, it's out there, it's got into systems, it's left fingerprints to show it can get in there, but it hasn't really done anything, and you don't know really what's going on. And this is another thing it does so well, is that it's an AI system that is working, and it works on like probability stuff, and it gets calculations and it triggers people to do certain stuff. But it's not like your usual one, like, AI systems taking over there. It takes over command systems to bomb other countries. It creates robots to do that. It does none of that. It kind of is a artificial intelligence, but it just manipulates humans to do its work and stuff. And that is, and it works really well. It's kind of not really refreshing, because I'm sure it's probably been done because we've had so many films about AI. But I say it's just a refresher nowadays of something that is new-ish. And as I say, because of AI is there, it's a lot of, it can tap into the cameras that people are using. It can tap into the communications. So at times, people can't trust what you're talking about. People can't trust what they're seeing on their cameras and stuff. If they've got like the glasses on, where you're trying to follow somebody, it kind of digitally removes an image and stuff like this. And there was stuff like that, and I thought, again, it's really good. But yeah, so the AI is out there. The AI basically has chosen a disciple, so to speak. This is Gabriel. Gabriel, we find out, has a relation to Ethan Hunt before he joined MFI. IMF, even, not MFI, not the furniture store. And obviously it kind of has a flashback. Now, Gabriel, I think, is quite a good character. He doesn't... The action side of things, I thought he was a little lackluster, but I know he is kind of a pawn for the computer. His character was supposed to be played by Nicholas Hoult, but obviously Nicholas Hoult, due to filming a TV series, had conflict and he couldn't do it. To be honest, I think it worked better because the character, when the flashback, obviously he knew Ethan before IMF, so he's quite an older gentleman, whereas Nicholas Hoult's quite a young lad, and I don't think that would have worked. It would have had to have been a completely different story. But anyway, so Gabriel's out there trying to set him up. Obviously, you don't really get to see a lot of him until near the end of the film. Obviously, Ethan and his team are out there to go and get this key. He comes across a thief called Grace, who's played by Hayley Atwell. And then kind of they're crossing paths because she keeps nicking the key and stuff, and then you get all these other factions are involved as you go through the film. Everybody trying to get the key. Once Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise's character, realises that obviously this is an AI system, his kind of main focal point is to get the key, but he wants to destroy the AI. No one should have it, whereas everyone else wants to get the key to control it. And this is where the computer is going against Ethan, because the theory is that obviously Ethan does all the the impossible missions. So he is the biggest threat to this AI, and this is why this AI has Gabriel. Basically, this is how the story goes. There's a lot of different characters you meet. So Pom, I can't pronounce her name, played Mantis. She plays a character called Paris. I thought she was really good in this. The only kind of drawback I thought to not her character is really well. She had some really good scenes. There's one fight in a very narrow corridor, and I think it was so confined, it was really hard to film that really well, and I think that was a little lackluster. That from her side, but she did really well. I think Paris, and her character's name is supposedly supposed to link to the TV series, but it's been so long since I've seen any of that, I can't. So yeah, so Kidridge is good. He's back. He's got some other agents that are that kind of have a vendetta against Ethan Hunt. So it's good to see kind of this task force. You have kind of the main character and his kind of sidekick, and I quite like the sidekick. They keep popping up here and there. And then obviously the team, Simon Pegg does really well in this. Rebecca Ferguson obviously comes back and does. I quite like her character for a bit, and obviously. I can't remember the other tech guy that is with Simon Pegg, Vin Rames. He does really well. You can see kind of he's getting a little bit older now, so I don't think they kind of sectioned his character to not doing a lot, which is understandable. But yeah, say it all works well, all comes together. Hayley Atwell is a good addition, as her character is kind of very against the MFI and then kind of starts linking up as time goes on. There are stuff that happens that I'm not going to really, I'm detailing kind of what the overall story is, but the little plot plot points, and if characters get hurt or anything, I'm not going to put in this because I feel it's better if you watch it yourself. And say, for a 2 hour and 43 movie, it didn't feel like a chore. It was actually a really nice watch. You know, it was nice to be in the cinema, to sit back, to relax, enjoy it. And I say, I didn't really feel uncomfortable or anything. And say, sitting down for almost 3 hours. Well, it was 3 hours because we got there quite early. I took my dad to see this one because I said it was a belated Father's Day present for him, so he enjoyed it as well, which was quite good. And so yeah, Tom Cruise knocks it out of the park. I mean, to be honest, obviously, when you read a lot of the facts, there are a lot of stuff with COVID-19, it delayed this, and it was the exact same thing for Maverick. It got delayed due to COVID. I think all this stuff has actually worked in its favour, whether they've fine-tuned the script or they've had to redo it. You know, and Tom Cruise has a love for these movies of late, and obviously I think he's 61 now, or, you know, how old he's getting to do the stunts that he does in these films and to keep the passion up is really good. And say the next one, supposedly Part 2, is supposed to be the end, so I do look forward to that one. I think it'll be a nice series to have from start to finish, and it's been a long journey he's been on. Regardless of all the personal stuff, obviously there was a lot of issues with COVID and how he went off on rants and something, and not to really majorly address that, but I think, you know, he's a big movie star. His movies keep a lot of people employed. He may not employ stuntmen very often because he does all the stunts, but apart from that, I can understand he wants to do this project. You know, thing gets shut down for COVID for months because people have to segregate. That's a lot of money and time, and this is the most expensive Mission Impossible film because of all the COVID issues of them moving stuff and that. So I think for him wanting people to have their jobs, to be able to get paid well and do their job to then move on to the next thing, I can understand him being a bit frustrated. But anyway, let's get off the personal side of it. Yeah, but overall, I have to give the film 7.5 out of 10. This is a very, very good film in this franchise because it is a franchise film, as you've seen before. I will not rate it like 10 or probably 9. It goes, 8 is probably local because it has so much tied into it. Now, when I went into this, I'd only watched the previous 2 or 3 films at the cinema. I took my dad to see all of them. So, my memory of how the characters link and stuff is a bit vague on that and stuff and how long they've been in it. But, it is a good partnership. The actors and actresses all work really, really well. The new additions, again, perfectly work into it. The story works really well, as I say. The Pom fight in a small corridor you do kind of see in the trailer. I thought that was, a little bit thing. The only other thing I could kind of fault in it is Hayley Atwell puts a mask on at some point and she's got brown eyes and the person she's playing is blue eyes, and no one, like her close confidant and Kittredge and a few other people, walk right by her and are like, you have different eyes. You are not the same person. How that was not picked up on, or why she wasn't given contact lenses, I don't know. Again, those were the only 2 bits I could really put out. Overall the story was really well. I think it was done really good. The stunts were really good. There's a few bits of CG with the train and stuff. Scenes that aren't always the best. They ain't amazing. Obviously the part of the end train film was filmed to mirror Back to the Future 3. I don't know if anyone even was aware of that, but that's interesting to go back and see. But yeah, overall I thought it was a really, really good movie. Definitely recommend it. I mean, this is the second Tom Cruise movie I've seen that I've been really, really impressed. Obviously, Maverick being the other one. And he's doing really, really well. He is a very good... I think he's come into his own in the late 90s, early 2000s, and he's... especially now, he is making really amazing films. The only issue is he's an action star, but he's in his 60s now. How long can he actually go? And hopefully he doesn't injure himself too badly, or hopefully none of these stunts go wrong. But anyway, that has been my review for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Hope you've enjoyed this review. Have you seen the movie, and what are your viewpoints? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Did I miss something? It's definitely one I'll add to the collection. So yeah, please do let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I've been Cypher Sigma Screen Time. Hope you enjoyed this movie review. Hope you have a nice weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.